So a small change here also. Security development policy is secure development life cycle. Secure engineering, system engineering principle is secure system architecture and engineering principle, because architectural design is also integral part of the secure system, and that's why that term has been added. Protection of test data is test information, and information security policy for supplier relationship is now information security in supplier relationship. So again, to continue with addressing security within supplier agreement is addressing information security within supplier agreement. And then information and communication technology supply chain is now managing information security in ICT supply chain. Responsibility and procedure is now information security incident management planning and preparation. Assessment of and decision of information security event is now assessment and decision on information security events. Availability of information processing facility is now redundancy of information processing facilities, and privacy and protection of personally identified information is now privacy and protection of PII. So now that's the change. When it comes to this upgrading your MS from the implementation perspective. So what are the key artifacts which you will like to go for? What is the new change you will implement or bring it within your system? Because auditing is the next step, but this particular training is for the implementation. So from that perspective, if you see the management review procedure, a bit of change because of the high level structural changes in that. The change management process, because means that new planning of changes have been added in the new standard. So definitely you will consider that particular requirement and have your formalized change management process in place. Then the risk assessment treatment documentation, again, because risks are all very associated with different controls, whether you apply the risk using some risk management tool or whether you use the spreadsheet for risk management, linking it with the Annexa control was always there. So definitely with this new change in the structure and new Annexa controls, control domains, which accordingly you will definitely like to change your risk register or your risk management tool. Statement of applicability, of course, will have to go through a major change, because all the new control domains will have to be aligned in that. Corrective action register, again, because all these are linked together, because any non-conformity or any incident, if you link it to some risk and the corrective action or the action plan for improvement, if you are linking it with, again, risk, because it's all risk-based approach. So you will have to apply changes according to that in your corrective and improvement register, or your even the tool which you use for taking corrective action or any action for improvement. If you assign the task, it can be also linked with the same this of risk management, so that the risk, the objective, the identification of any improvement, and any corrective action associated with that, all these are linked. Then internal audit program will have to be just a bit revised to take care of the new structural change in the high level structure. And information security policy also, you will definitely like to review that policy to encompass all the requirements, particularly with reference to the cloud service, this and some other changes which may be relevant for your organization. So again, I'm sure you maintain some scheduled tasks, because I have seen in most of the organization where I go for audit, there are information security or ISMS calendar or say scheduled tasks for ISMS is maintained, and measures and metrics for objective monitoring, which is now a very now a very clear-cut requirement that also need to be just maintained in relation to that. So whatever ISMS tasks are there, the RACI metrics, if you develop in association with that, and then scheduled task of review, whether it is at a different periodic interval, all those things you can consider revising. And as I mentioned, the risk register, the statement of applicability, corrective action, internal audit program, the policy, the calendar, the measure metrics, and all this can be revised. The transition timeline. Now, again, every certification body has been working on it, and some organization has already started with the transition process or going for the new standard. Some organization are still waiting for this, but the timeline is set up by IF, and this timeline is that by 31st October 2025, every single organization which is certified for 2013 version has to transition to the new standard. So that 3 years timeline, as it is generally given for any after publication of any new standard, that is given for standard. So and means again, every certification body will have their own policy on this, but generally the transition is conducted with a minimum half-day addition. It can be during the routine surveillance or recertification, or a special audit can be organized. In case of any special audit, if it is to be organized, normally from the practical point of view, minimum 1 day is kept by the CBs, but again, it is a generic this, it will be dealt with case-to-case basis. For larger organization, additional time calculated on the individual basis based on size and complexity of the scope, justification, and additional duration to be recorded. So all these are there. Again, for you, I'm sure you have already probably started with this process of transition. If not, then first thing is that yes, good that you attended this training, because a lot of time and effort I have made to compile all this information. And from auditing point of view, means we have to be aware about all these changes. So I have attended so many organization and collected all the materials, tried to bring it in this presentation. It's easily understandable for anyone, because this slide, if you see, it's all self-explanatory. It gives exact this of whatever changes which has happened, and if you go through those, as Tushar told that it will be shared, if you go through it, you will understand. If you in this short period may not be possible to comprehend all the changes which are there, but after that you can go for suppose you go for the standard, which is your choice. So you can go for, and procure this new standard, and then you can conduct the gap analysis. Against all the changes and the new controls and new requirements which has been added, and implement the necessary changes, gather evidence of effective implementation, and just the same process will continue. So and we are there from sustainable certification to help you in this journey of transition within your transition timeline. So overall, we have gone through all these as we have seen that largely 4 to 10 remains unchanged. Clause adjustment, but requirement largely unchanged, and just cosmetic changes are there with the small these changes to align with the harmonized structure. A new clause that has been added for the plan changes, and Annexure A has undergone significant revision. All control identifiers have been changed because now it is a totally different structure from the previous one. 11 new controls have been added. Renaming some controls provide additional clarity for both operators and auditors, and the audit process is same, and just more attention is required on the control additions and mergers. So with this, we have come to the end of this presentation. If you have any question, or I will hand it over to Tushar for some time, and then some other things also I will like to just continue. So over to you, Tushar, if you're there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, welcome.
Obviously, thank you everyone for your participation and in this event. Feel free. There'll be some question time now, so feel free if you have any questions about the sustainable certification transition process or anything from the presentation. Yeah, feel free. We'll have some time now for questions.
I will stop sharing for a moment, and yeah, please feel free. Yeah.
Feel free also to pop question in the chat if you want. Thank you, Sushant, once again as well for an amazing presentation.
So if there is no question, what I will do, see, I can go for a short quiz if everyone is okay to go for some more time. Is it okay for everyone?
I assume so. Hang on.
I believe there's just a question in the chat.
Yes, Claire has asked a question, Sushant. Is it
please.
necessary to complete a gap analysis between the two standards? Will an auditor want to see a gap analysis? Yeah.
Okay, I will just share a very simple tool for that. It's something which is again gap analysis is something which is
Claire. Yeah. I'm sorry, just to add directly. I think I'll just step in. I don't think an auditor will actually want to see the gap analysis. The gap analysis was more for you internally for your own checks and balances prior to the audit. But I'll let Sushant handle it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, can you just see my this screen now, or
yeah,
am I presenting? Can you see the transition gap audit checklist?
You have to open it up. You can't see it.
Sorry?
You've got it on this screen. You have to actually open it up for us. We can't.
Oh, okay. I'll just try to bring. There is some issue with this. Let me just see how I can bring it. So
maybe stop sharing and then reshare.
Yeah, and then I just I will. Okay. So I will just try to present this one. Can you see now the gap and checklist or no?
No, we can't. We can't see.
No. Okay. Let me just see sort it out. How to sort it out? Just 1 second. Okay. So can you see now? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yeah. So gap audit checklist where I am just putting the cursor. Is it visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. I as Tushar. Sorry. Yeah. Anything? Anyone wants to say anything? Okay. So I'll continue. See, if you are able to see this gap audit checklist, is it now visible on your screen?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Good, good, good. So as Tushar mentioned that it is not a mandatory thing. There is no mandatory requirement of and the auditor cannot just enforce this, that gap audit has to be done. It is not a mandatory requirement as to very clearly. Okay, now the thing is that if you want to do gap analysis, that is the best practice, because any time any change is there, to have a gap audit done. So this is a sort of gap audit checklist, which is there like 4.2C, you know, that is a change. For 6.1, 6.13D, 6.3, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 10. So all these changes of the high level structure, and then you can go through the Annexer controls in restructure to match the revised Annexer control. Okay, and has attributes from 27,002, which is not a mandatory requirement, but has it been included because it is a best practice, and you should always consider that. And all this presentation which I have presented is this only, that you do this sort of gap analysis within your organization and see that A5.7 threat, whether it is there, and you can, is it applicable? What is the implementation status? What is the evidence for that? Because finally, when it comes to auditing, you will have to show that only, that okay, have made it applicable, whether partially implemented, fully implemented, or not implemented at all. Then evidence for major gap is there, you can raise within your system as major or minor NC, and then if suppose any scope of there as OFI, and you can and you can develop tools which are there, particularly 5.7, 5.23, and so focus on the new controls first. So all new controls, logical control, and then you just make sure all the merge control and then all the renamed control. So merge control and 35 this control which are there. So you can do the gap analysis based on this simple checklist.
That's quite a helpful sheet,
Chant. Sorry?
That's quite a helpful checklist. Thank you.
As I told, I have done a lot of research and this to help you all. So yeah, definitely means it will definitely help. And as to start that some all this document, whatever is there, will be shared later on, and probably it will be definitely useful. Yeah, and we are there to help you in this journey. So definitely.
Can I ask a question about transition as well? So we've got a surveillance audit due by end of year, and our recertification occurs end of next year. We can still start the transition prior to the surveillance audit this year with a target for the recertification, or is it better to keep our system as it is now at 2013, and then after the surveillance audit start the transition?
Tushar, will you like to
Sorry, can you just repeat that quickly?
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah.
we've got a surveillance audit at end of year,
Yeah.
and then a recertification end of 2024. So is it practical for us to start the transition before the surveillance audit this year, but target
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
the 2020,
Yeah.
2024?
Spot on.
Yeah. Okay, cool. As long as we can sort of show that planning.
I mean, we can do it in the surveillance you feel ready, but I mean, from a logistical point of view, it would make more sense to get yourself ready, but then organize to do it at the triennial.
Yeah.
Generate
excellent.
transitions at a better recertification.
Yeah.
Because they just absorb the number duration, and also resets your certification cycle.
was thinking, but
Yeah.
but because of practicality as well, for
Yeah.
now, trying to sort of do it in just that 12-month period
Yeah.
might be sticky. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're spot on.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Any further question? So see now last I told that if you want to the certification of this training, and that can be exemplar global accredited certificate. If you want to go for it, then and that set of that and send it back. But for general this, we can run through the quiz now. Whatever you have, and it is just for a sort of practice session for the quiz. So yeah, for any evaluation for US participant. So to have and then come back and go for that. If you
Sounds good.
have a 10 minutes break, and then we can continue
Yeah.
with that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's perfectly fine. That, and Tushar, if you can stay back and share this, confirm that it is sharing properly. I will just share this screen and
Yep, no worries.
yeah, just 1 second. I'm doing that, and I will bring that quiz. Okay, so can you see this of quiz?
I can see it. You have to do the same thing. I
You can
guess,
see
with it.
this one
You
quiz,
get a full screen.
auditor transition training quiz. Can
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, if you, do you want to
Perfectly fine.
take the same approach so that we get a full screen? Yeah, display settings. Yeah.
Yeah, is it not
Yeah.
full screen?
Now it is. Yeah.
No. Is it a full screen now?
Yeah.
Is it full screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, good. Okay, good. That's perfect then. Okay, so we'll get 11:20.
I thought about it that way and not fully. So I just didn't look good. No, Sid, I do not consent to photos.
So it's not like I posted it for like mine for live.
Absolutely.
Is the word.
Really dedicated to not wearing shoes, huh?
You're wearing shoes. And if it's a beef truck, you gotta feel it. But look. See?
Not let's should heal off our hands for the day.
You know, that kid really took a hit for this, right?
God, I hope he didn't lose any precious brain cells.
You might give him a break. That's all I'm saying.
He's a vibe killer. Can't read a room. He stresses me out.
Just nervous, man. He worships you. Gotta tell you, Ruby, I really thought that being on tour with the band was gonna be like, you know, one big party, all fun and bonding, like Spinal Tap, for Janine. Not this clicky, gatekeepy high school bullshit. Consider my eyes open.
Hey, drummer boy.
I don't know what kind of meeting it is. Thank you.
What did I do?
I saw you talking to Ruby last night. He's Melanie. This little white screen. I've been doing this since I was a little dumb as fuck baby. You get everything, man. Thank you. It's,
I'll get a good one for you. A map?
I haven't quit and checked the app. If I have anything left in my garbage life except one last shot, this shot. It is what it is, and I'm taking it. Sorry about the kid. Truly. Gonna go.
Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy.
nice right hook, merch girl.
You see you're moving up in the world. Huh? Is that why you quit?
Wait. Got canned on some music.
Huh. Well, you know, I knew that Ruby threw a lie in there. I just couldn't trust the,
And that's
can I ask you something? It's, not the kid, the thing that happened with his aunt. Is that something that happens?
Yeah, it happens. Yardbird 77, lead guitar, was using the same name. That's why they have a depth capacitor.
What?
Old amps used to have cords with 2 plugs instead of 3. If you reverse the plug, it's like sticking a fork in the side. Depth capacitor keeps it safe.
Oh, it's been nuts. And I think Al switched it out for a booby-trapped amp and a coat amp.
Listen, I know you really like the kid. You're traumatized. We all are, but reality now. It looks upset. And Deuteronomy wasn't there to check in. Me. Al was on stage the whole time having a he would have risked electrocuting himself for asking for me.
It's true.
Huh. One more show. And this will all be in your rearview mirror. Okay? Chill out and keep it together. Yeah.
It's vintage. Yes.
Yeah.
Haven't came in the wall yet.
Hey, parents, dummies, and veggie and shithead, listen to me. We are this close to nailing this thing. Get the fuck together. Do not. Okay. Oh.
Okay, as long as you don't sing it under oath.
Hey, Deuteronomy, can I borrow you? I'm trying to do something on here and I. Okay, that's good. Okay, so Al was being a real baby about setting up his mic stand, right?
Yeah. Said it was his hunchback or something. I tried to teach him Pilates. I learned from Jimmy Page.
Okay, so look at this. This is from the show, the one Gavin does. Look at the tape. Somehow in this show, on this one night, he got taller.
What? Yeah, you want different shoes.
Wait, why would a guy with a bad back suddenly wear new shoes on stage?
You can't see his shoes there, though.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Shushant.
Yeah, welcome. So if everyone has joined, then we'll start with this quiz, the most important and the most interesting part of the whole training session. So Tushar, are you there? Then if you give the green signal, I
Yeah.
go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, good. Okay, so the first quiz question is that the statement of applicability. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, the statement of applicability is not required to be updated to include the merge control. True or false? Tushar will have some special gift for those who will answer the correct.
Are we putting it in the chat or are we just yelling it out loud?
Just the first responder, and if you are just unmute yourself and say that no need to put in the chat. Yeah, it is just as a sort of a refresh this exercise, nothing for the evaluation.
Yeah, no worries. Definitely false.
So you please feel free, just unmute yourself and answer the question. Whoever says first, and then I'll explain and give the right answer. Hope you are not seeing the right answer, which is displayed in some other part of the presentation. So you can see only true or false, right?
Correct, and it's false.
Okay, so okay, please feel free to answer true or false.
False.
Right, you're 100% right. So full marks. The second, true or false, internal audit must cover the implementation of the revised and XRA controls that are applicable.
True.
100%. Third, true or false, exclusion of controls does not need to be justified.
False.
Right, 100%. Fourth, true or false, additional risk related to the new control do not need to be considered.
False.
100%. Then statement of applicability shall include the attributes for each control.
True.
100%. See, the terminology in ISO is a bit tricky. Shall is it is a mandatory, and should is it is recommended. Or so as you know, the attributes are guideline or recommendation in ISO 27002. So it is not a mandatory thing, and that's why statement of applicability. If it includes, that's the choice, but shall include the attributes of each control. No, that is a false statement. So it's false. Then information security objectives shall be monitored.
True.
True.
Right, because now it is a mandatory requirement in ISO 27001 that it has to be monitored. ISO 27002 control implementation guidance must be followed.
True.
Again, must is something, it is not a mandatory thing, and that's why must be followed is not true. So it is false. It is something which you can consider to follow, but it is not a mandatory requirement to follow. So guidance is as a guidance. It is not the requirement. Okay, then true or false, source of threat intelligence should be considered during the audit.
True.
True, 100%. Yeah. Then continuous monitoring for unauthorized physical access must be implemented.
True.
100%. Information should be deleted when no longer required.
Oh, now is this a trick question, Zashad? False, because it must be deleted when no longer required.
Yeah, so you have to be you have to go through the exact requirement in the clause, and then only you should come to the judgment. So definitely it is a requirement in ISO 27001, and that's why it is true in the sense that it has to be deleted. Now, see, you have to consider the situation that what type of information is there, what are your information classification scheme, all these things you have to consider, and that's why all the information shall be deleted when no longer required. That is not the correct this. So it is a sort of this you should consider from your organizational perspective, your information classification scheme, and that's why should be deleted is true here. Then proxy filter may be used to control access to external website. Anyone? Hello.
Yeah, I'm unsure as well.
We don't know.
See, web filtering can be done through various means. So one of the ways is that proxy filter may be used. So that way it is true, basically. So you can consider so many different ways of web filtering, and proxy filter is definitely one of the option. So secure coding principles do not apply to outsource software development.
False.
Yes, 100%. So it is for outsource, for open source, for everything. You have to consider this secure coding principle. Okay, new analysis array control cannot be excluded.
True.
True.
Ah, really? This is tricky. See, it applies for all control. You have to give the justification for exclusion.
Good morning, Anthony. It's Tusha from Sustainable Certification.
Okay, I got it.
Please give me a call when you have a chance on 0418
Tushar, can you mute yourself?
Thanks.
Okay. So new annexer A control cannot be excluded is false because it applies to all the annexer control irrespective of whether it is new or merged control or renamed control. Any of the control can be excluded with proper justification. Then how long do you have to transition your existing ISMs? So which one? 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 12 months.
Or
20 years.
Sorry.
2 years until.
Yeah,
right?
see, this is from the starting of this, so not from now, but when it was started. So it is a sort of a 3-year that the transition period deadline is given. So that is what it is meant by this question. Okay, so 3 years. Threat intelligence makes include examination of the following. So which one is sources of intelligence, roles, responsibility, information security, incident, how the intelligence is analyzed and used. So sources of intelligence.
Yes.
That is correct, right? And then you can choose multiple here. So not only one option is not only the correct option. You can choose multiple this. So sources of intelligence here, I'll just give a guideline like sources of intelligence, roles and responsibility has to be considered and how the intelligence is analyzed. Information security incident is not part of this threat intelligence this here. For that there is different annexer control. So A, B and D is the correct one. Which of the following applies to data masking? Select that applies. So data masking applies to any sensitive data, including this. Data masking applies to sensitive PII data only. Data masking applies to sensitive as defined in the contract. Data masking applies to that has been encrypted. Again, for your this data masking applies to sensitive PII data. So that is the main for which data mask is applied. So that's which one answer here, just for your guidance. Then the statement of applicability must include justification for inclusion, exclusion, whether the controls are implemented or not, technology used to implement control, risk related to control. In this again, which one will you like to choose as the correct one? A, B,
A, B.
B, A, B, yeah.
Yeah, A, B.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine. So A and B is the correct choice. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. What may be considered if adopting physical security monitoring? So alarm unoccupied areas constantly, awareness training to all staff on position of monitoring system, use of physical barrier to prevent unauthorized access, consider motion sensing technology for detection motion. So which one?
A, C and D. No, A. Yeah, A, C and D.
See, this again depends on the situation. So definitely means it is not black and white that only this or that, but yes, depending on the situation. But in general, physical security, consider what may be considered if adopting physical security monitoring is mainly the alarm unoccupied areas constantly. That is very clear. That has to be done. Rest all are again depending on the situation. So A is definitely correct for any situation where unoccupied areas are there. You have to alarm it constantly. Then how do you demonstrate conformity to the new annexer A control? Ensure all are implemented. There is no need to do anything as they are not mandatory. So sorry for that typo. Justify the exclusion or inclusion in SOA. Your only source of reference is the use of 27002.
C.
C is the perfect correct answer. Which of the following may be requested when auditing the requirement of 523 information security for use of cloud service? Select all that apply. So policy governing the use of cloud service, define responsibility of cloud service provider, change management record for cloud service, disciplinary procedure.
All of them.
A, B, C.
Perfect, 100%. I'm sure you are not looking into the other screen where the answer is there, right?
No, no,
No, you are doing very good. Okay, good, great. 21. What has changed in clause 10 of 27? This select all that apply. The changes to continual improvement requirement, changes to how non-conformity evaluated. There has been a change of how the order aligns with the numbering of harmonized approach, and nothing has changed.
C.
100%. Full mark.
Go.
Doing very, very good. Are you enjoying?
Yeah.
I told you this is the most interesting part of the training session. So which of the following elements should be considered when auditing physical security monitoring to satisfy the requirement of clause 6.1 of the standard? Select all that apply. So alarm record and response, location of camera, motion sensor, staff record, access card, key management.
D.
So in this again, alarm record and response, the location of camera and the staff record is something which is kept by say under the people record, people control, and this it will come. But A, B, D, all these can be considered. So which of the following elements should be considered when auditing physicals? So all these alarm record and response, location of camera, and the access and key management need to be considered while auditing this. When auditing secure coding, which of the following might be evidence of effectiveness? Evidence of advice and guidance on software. This vulnerabilities, evidence of secure coding principle considered for in-house development only, evidence of freedom given to software developers to download necessary application, evidence of secure coding principle applied when coding only.
A, B, and D.
Okay, in this, it's a bit tricky, and because sometimes, you know, means these questions are framed in such a way that you don't get 100% marks while attempting this quiz. So in this, the correct is evidence of advice and guidance of software vulnerability. Rest all are a bit tricky. That evidence of secure coding considered for in-house development only, that is not correct. Evidence of freedom given to the software to download, that is again not freedom given to software. We are not going to audit that part. Evidence of applied for only coding, again, no. It is an overall whole life cycle of this has to be considered. So only A is the correct one. Correct choice. In the statement of applicability, which of the following control in Annexure A would be appropriate to record applicable legal or regulatory requirements? So 5.1, 5.10, 534, and 531.
D.
So in this, there is a control 531 for legal, statutory, regulatory, and contractual. So in that, you will see that in the which of the following control would be appropriate to record applicable. So 531 is the correct choice. Then implementation of control A61 screening requires background verification check for existing employee, existing contractor, potential employees prior to employment.
C.
100%. In some organization, again, you can argue that even if it is done for existing employee or existing contractor, that is the case, but it is mainly done prior to employment for the potential employee. So that is something which is there. So 100% correct. So next is which of the following is the new explicit requirement when considering IS objective? Monitor, measure, evaluate, analyze.
Oh, D.
Monitor is something which has been added. I told you during 6.2, in 6.2 high level structure clause, that is the change. So monitoring of objective is the change. So any information security objective, whatever has been established, it needs to be monitored. So monitor A is the right choice here. Which of the following are Annexer A control for information asset management, return of asset, access control, inventory of information, and the other this one. So which are the
C.
And A also, return of asset also has to be considered for information asset management in general. So inventory is important, but at the same time, return of asset has also to be considered. 28. An auditor reviewing the statement should check for control selected for implementation at the later date. Control currently implemented, control not selected for justification for exclusion, reasons for control selected, all the above.
A.
Actually, in this a bit tricky again, as I told you that these quiz questions are framed in such a way, and if you have attended as CISA or CISSP, any one of you, you know that these are a bit tricky type of question. So in so that it is meant to confuse you a bit. So this is all the above. So control selected for implementation at later date, control currently implemented, control not selected, and justification for their exclusion, and reasons for control selected. So all these need to be considered in SOA. 29. In your ISMS, what document is required to be updated prior to transition? Policy, program, process, and statement of applicability.
What document? D.
D. D.
Right, 100%. So updated prior to transition. So that is 100%. It has to be updated, and rest all means you can consider. It's not a mandatory thing, but it is something. A statement of applicability is required to be updated. That is a must. Which of the following conditions are sufficient to justify exclusion of control from Annexer A? This one. Justified in documentation, residual risk accepted by management, only A above, both A and B, only B above.
I'd say D, A and B.
100%. Oh, wow. That is something really very good. Great. Great. I'm sure, Tushar, you are monitoring who is answering the best, and you must be having some very good gift ready for.
Oh, absolutely.
No. Okay, so Tushar will be the judge, and his decision will be final. How many new controls are there in people's control selection of Annexer A of this one?
Oh, people control.
How many new controls are there in people control section?
Oh, that's mean. I'm gonna go. I have to guess that. I'm gonna say D.
Actually, as I mentioned, that there is no new control in 6. So people control, there is no. So 0 actually is the correct one. There is no new control in that. And if a control statement of is marked applicable but yet not implemented, what would the auditor expect to see? An alternative control to replace that control, reason for statement for not implementing, the risk treatment containing the control, the reasons for exclusion of control listed in this one.
C.
100% correct. Wow, that's very good. Impressed. An auditor is reviewing the documented ISMS. In the statement of applicability, control 8.24 rules for effective use of cryptography has been marked non-applicable. However, the backup procedure has a requirement that the data backup must encrypt the information. The first step that auditor should take is escalate the issue to CEO of the auditee organization, tell the auditee that SOA should be corrected immediately, tell the auditee that backup procedure should be corrected immediately, write a non-conformance report, inquire from auditee if a policy on the use of cryptography exists.
Either A or B.
See, as an auditor, again, I'll tell you that when I go through the questions which are asked in the exam examination, so these kind of questions are very common. So as an auditor, first step is that you inquire from the auditee if policy exists, and then you go and deep dive and then take your decision. So hold your decision, hold your judgment, and go through one by one, one step at a time. Check first the policy, whether it is in existence or not, and then you go further and check the evidence is there or not, and then take the action. So don't jump to the conclusion, don't escalate directly to CEO and tell the should be corrected immediately. I mean, so you are not there to, as an auditor from the auditing point of view, particularly this question has been framed, that you inquired the auditee if the policy on the use of cryptography exists. Then, which of the following is true about A8 in the Annexure A? This holds the most control of for control section, covers all the non-organizational control. All control must be implemented as they relate to technology. And this has the largest number of new control of any of the 4 controls. Okay, A and B and D are almost common or same. So yeah, which one you think will be correct?
C.
To some extent, yes, because this is related to technological control, so it has to be implemented, and means these are something which you cannot ignore because it's so important. Now, 35. How many controls are there in Annexure A? How many total controls?
4. C.
And as you know, there are total 93 controls. 4 control domains are there, but total 93 controls are there.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, so that's the correct answer, 93 instead of 114 from the previous standard. Which of the following are new controls introduced? Data masking, data leak prevention, logging, information security during. So which out of these are the new controls?
A.
A and B also, data masking and data leak prevention. Both of these are the new controls. Logging and information security during disruption. These are either renamed or merged or that control, right? Then which of the following could be considered a configuration item? Size of vending machine, data center, call center. This is a bit tricky, this one again. See, it is considered a data center, which can be considered as a configuration item when doing the configuration management. So 38 is, when can a transition audit be carried out? At recertification, during a planned surveillance, at a special recertification and surveillance.
A or B. Is that true?
So C is at special audit or recertification or during surveillance. So anytime it can be done. That is the choice, and something which is to be mutually agreed between the auditee organization and the certification body. So it can be done either during surveillance, during recertification, or any special audit can also be conducted. Then when will you consider using organizational attribute to help manage the annexure? While considering operational capability, while information, while considering cybersecurity, while managing control based on the maturity. So these are the guideline, and when you are managing the control based on their maturity, you can take help of these attributes. So basically, D is the correct answer when managing control based on their maturity. And the last one is this one. Which of the following is likely to be seen as evidence of effective control when auditing threat intelligence? Evidence of layered approach, evidence of top management carries out this, evidence of intelligence is shared, evidence that threats are from external sources.
B.
Here, the layered approach is something which you have to consider from the strategic, tactical, and the operational this. So A is the correct choice here. So that's all I wanted to cover in this. So once again, thanks a lot, everyone, and over to Tushar.
Thank you, everyone, for your participation. Very grateful. Hope you really all individually took something out of today. I know I did. Thank you, Sushant, for all of your contributions today. It's been wonderful, and I'm sure that all of our clients have learned something out of today with regards to 27,001. There you go. Claire has already had some feedback. Just some notes for everyone that we will be sending out all of the resources and additional kind of recording of the webinar for those who have kind of participated today. Also, just a reminder that anyone who wishes to receive an exemplar global certificate, all we require of you and ask of you is $100. And we are happy to issue you the exemplar global certificate, which would demonstrate that you have completed as per the IRCA approved requirements, training and professional development, exemplar global approved certificate. So thank you once again, and we'll look forward to the future and see what we can achieve together.
Thanks a lot, Tushar. Now I'll request anyone if you want to share your experience, your feedback, anything formally. Of course, Tushar told that he will send, but if you want to say a few words, please feel free.
Thank you. It's been a really good session.
Yeah, thank you so much. Excellent session. Cheers.
I think, Shelley, are you talking? Because we can't hear.
Well, we will be, as a reminder, we'll be sending out a post-evaluation feedback survey. So we will take all your information and feedback on board to help us, continue to grow our training sessions. Thank you, everyone, and thank you once again for attending. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
Thank you, Sushant. Thank you, Sushant. Bye.
Thank
you
you
very much. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So Tushar, you are there.
Yeah,
good.
Well done. I mean, there was a bit of challenge. I mean, to be honest, when I looked at the there were 20 people. I did some deeper dive, and 3 or 4 of them were auditors anyway, who aren't with sustainable certification. So, it was fine. Like, I think it was good, to be honest. I think the people that did attend were committed to understanding the process a bit more. So, yeah, no, you did well. What did you think?
Good. I think except for the initial days and number of participants, everything. I think, I think it went good from my perspective. Very good.
No, absolutely, you did a good job, and I think we'll send a feedback, but I think everyone seems to have enjoyed the experience, and and even the people who attended it and had to leave, they enjoyed it well. So, no, well done. We're really grateful and thank you once again. And I think we've got a bit of a break now, so you can have some
Yeah.
water, enjoy your rest your vocal cords for a bit. And
not a problem. Absolutely.
We'll see you back here at 1:30.
1:30 will resume. So that will be meant for only the auditors, is it?
Auditors, yes. So 7 auditors. Ian Erskine, who was he actually messaged email last night, so he said he can't attend. But yeah, there'll be 7 people.
Okay. Okay. So is it possible to send the names of these people who will be attending?
Absolutely.
If it is. Okay. Yeah, that will.
Yeah,
be
did you receive the lists that I sent you yesterday,
I
Sushant?
think
with
Renee,
the-
there you go. Renee has already
is
sent
it?
it.
Okay. I will have to check. Did you send in the email, Rennie?
Yes.
Yeah, in the same email that I sent the slides, I sent a list
right,
of
right. Probably
attendees.
because I was, yesterday after the work, I started working on my final presentation. So it was very, very hectic.
There you go.
I
Yeah, of
always go
course.
through 3-4 hours before I present.
Sorry,
so
I should have
yesterday-
mentioned earlier. I didn't realize you hadn't seen it.
Okay, not a problem. Where is that?
So it's just attached to the email that I sent yesterday morning with the slide on it.
Yeah, I saw it as well.
Right,
It'll be if you have a
okay.
look, you'll see it.
Okay, somehow I in the slide. Okay.
Yeah.
So in that only it was there, is it? Because slides, I could see 2 slides which were there in the zip file, but I couldn't see any other attachment.
Oh yeah, so they were in the zip file. Oh, hold on, let me just.
Because when I opened, I downloaded those zip file, only those 2 presentations were there. Yeah, the old one and the which I downloaded.
just
But
open
apart
it
from
up.
that, nothing was there in that folder.
So if you look at the one that I sent yesterday at 12 o'clock.
I think you may be looking at Sushant. Yeah, look at the one that recently was sent. The most recent one.
Okay, so to avoid.
I'll forward it again.
Yeah, if you can do that, because when I downloaded that zip file, I could see only 2 presentation.
Yeah, I think because
attendees. Okay, so that is separately attached. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I
because
get.
the presentations
see
were
that.
so
Okay, I
large,
just
they had to go
downloaded.
into a drive.
Yeah. Otherwise,
okay.
otherwise, because the problem is the file, so it's only limitation how much you can.
No, I
upload.
got
Yeah.
it. Now I got it. Yeah. All good.
There's a separate one for each.
All right. Okay, so Swapnil Patil is there, right? Who will be attending? Neeraj, Joseph Nair, and
yes,
Ajay Kumar Patel. Yeah. So all this. Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Okay. So we'll start at 1:30, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect.
No worries.
Okay.
Thank you, Renee, for so far.